skinny male cook. This was taking way too long and making him nervous. He could hear the drone of Christmas music on a radio turned low in the kitchen and smell bacon frying unattended. For the third time in the past 15 minutes, the cook looked at the clock on the wall, then at his phone lying on the counter next to the grill. Leo Vernon, a parolee who'd only recently been released from Montana State Prison, had a rap sheet as long as his tattooed arm. But Culhane was only interested in his latest crime. He'd been waiting for the short-order cook to take a smoke break out back, rather than confronting him in the kitchen in front of all these people. He didn't want to call any more attention to himself than he had to. But if Leo didn't take his break soon... Why was the man staying in the kitchen? Had the cook seen him and still thought he was with the sheriff's department? Or was Leo waiting for something? For a text? For some important news? Waiting for someone? Whatever it was, the cook's mind wasn't on cooking, Culhane thought, as he watched his breakfast beginning to burn on the grill. When Leo picked up the spatula, his hand was shaking. With a start, Culhane realized that the man wasn't just distracted. He was scared. He felt his pulse bump up as he sensed the man's tension even from the counter where he sat watching him through the pass-through. The bell over the front door of the cafe jangled, making them both start. Leo's gaze shot to the door. All the color bled from his face. Feeling a gust of Montana fall air, Culhane turned to see 3 men come in. As a former sheriff's deputy, he knew the look too well. Trouble had just walked in the door. He swore under his breath. With a warrant out for his arrest, he had more than enough trouble already. He picked up his Stetson from the counter and pulled it low, watching the men out of the corner of his eye. The older man of the 3 had a lined face, buzz-cut gray hair, and old prison tattoos that showed at his neck and forearms where he'd rolled up his shirt sleeves. He gave the other 2 no more than a glance. They were much younger, both looking nervous compared to the all-business demeanor of the obvious leader of the bunch. Novice criminals, he thought, and felt the earlier tension spark like the first hint of an electrical storm. He knew instinctively that the 3 men weren't here just for breakfast. The locals in the cafe watched the 3 enter but lost interest, just as they had when he'd come in. Buckhorn, Montana must see enough tourists that locals were immune to strangers passing through, he thought. He wanted no part of whatever trouble these 3 were peddling, and reached for his wallet. He'd leave the cost of his breakfast he wasn't going to get to eat on the counter and clear out. He had enough problems without buying more. He'd just have to catch Leo after whatever was going down here was over. He shot a glance at the cook. Leo looked as if he wanted to make a break for the back door. Culhane swore under his breath. There was no doubt. The arrival of these men was what Leo had been waiting for. It made Culhane hesitate. Given the fear on the cook's face, this was about to get ugly. Reminding himself of all the reasons he didn't want to get involved in this, whatever it was, he still hesitated. He just needed to talk to Leo, but it appeared so did these men. He groaned inwardly, cursing the way his luck was going. As badly as he needed information from the cook, Culhane knew that the best thing he could do was hightail it out of there. This wasn't his fight. Worse, trouble would bring cops, and that was the last thing he needed right now. Once these men finished their business with Leo. As he started to push to his feet, he heard the bell over the door jangle again. In the plastic of the pie display case, he caught the woman's reflection. His heart plummeted. With a curse, he slowly lowered himself back onto the stool as Alexis Brand entered the cafe. Her timing couldn't have been worse. Of course she would come after him. He shook his head, remembering how he'd left her bed last night like a thief in the night. It wouldn't matter that he'd only done it to keep her out of the trouble dogging him right now. Not that she would understand, even if now were the best time to explain.